Hi, welcome to learnhowtogarden.com, and in today's episode I'm going to be sowing melons, specifically musk melons, but it's exactly the same technique if you're sowing cantaloupe melons or watermelons. The reason I'm sowing musk melons is twofold. One, I haven't grown them before, and I was asked by one of my Japanese subscribers what I felt about them, and that's because they're the world's most expensive melon. In Japan, one of these melons could quite easily cost you $200. They are cosseted, the same as the Japanese cosset their bonsai and their koi carp. They are, you know, a fantastic thing. And this is one of James Wong's Homegrown Revolution seeds, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing how this grows. I do grow a normal cantaloupe melon, which we grow most years, and I'll be sowing it exactly the same way. I tend to sow my melons in these small individual pots. You could use 3-inch pots, but these are slightly smaller so you lose less compost. And the compost I use is a basic compost which I've added about 20% perlite to. It's the mix I use for growing tomatoes in, about 20 to 25% perlite. It frees up the compost. You get more air in the compost. It doesn't make it quite so compacted. It's quite quick, quite easy. Fill your little tray, bang it down, and it'll reduce by about 1 centimetre, which is about the depth you need for your melon seeds. Don't go pushing it in. It doesn't need to be compact. Remember, all seeds need air as well as water around their roots. They're just like you and me. Without air, they'll die. And melon seeds are dead easy to handle. I don't know how close in you can get here, but they're quite large. About 10mm long, very thin, a bit like a propeller, or obviously one sort of, what would they call it? One part of the propeller. I'm not sure what they call three parts of the propeller. It's not a wing, is it, on a propeller? I suppose it's a prop, as in. But anyway, I digress. Take them and make the effort to sow them on end. So you just gently push them. If I just raise this slightly, you might see this easier. Into the compost on their end. That's because most large seed melons, cucumbers are exactly the same, squash, marrows. If you put them in flat, they've got a much higher chance of rotting. I tend to put one into each of these little compartments. A lot of the time people say put 2 and throw away the weakest, but seed's not cheap, especially for something like this. I'd rather throw away the nothing of a pence worth of compost than one of my seeds. I mean, in here we've got 12 seeds, so we're going to need to put some in another tray. If you're like me, what I'll do is put these obviously with my other melon seeds. Get that one back in there. Label it, and if you're going to put them in another tray, put a label at each end, otherwise you're bound to forget. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a professional grower today, and I mean, a couple of the trays he was showing me, he's done what we've all done, you know. I'll remember. You won't, because once you've got all these trays, let's be honest, they all look roughly the same. Then just take a tiny bit of your compost. You could use vermiculite, but compost is fine for melons. Just cover up to the top of your tray into a propagator at 20 degrees. As soon as they're germinated, out onto your hot bench. Now, Japan's quite a cold country. It's got quite good skiing, quite a lot of it. And these melons are supposed to grow outside. So what we'll be doing this year, we'll be growing some in a greenhouse and some outside, just to see. If they do grow outside and they give us a viable crop, that is fantastic, because melons have always been a bit iffy to grow outside. So I really am looking forward to tasting these. They're supposed to have the most exquisite scent. So these are Musk Melons. They are a Japanese delicacy, available now quite sort of readily from any seed merchant, and it'll be great to see how they go. So that's how you would sow melons, musk melon, cucumbers are exactly the same, any of those cubits. Thanks a lot for watching, and that's Mark at Learn How to Garden saying I'll see you next time.